Hello guys, me Sweet Shock here, and today I'm here with Moses. How are you, man?
Good, how about you? How's it going?
I'm good, very good. Kinda tired after these close games and
Long days.
yeah, the brain kinda turns off. But this is your first time here in Jönköping, right? Your first Dreamhack here. How does it feel to be here?
No, it's sick. Obviously, all the computers and LAN parties fun as hell. I've been watching games from like the Dreamhack Winters over the years since like 2002, like all the original Dreamhacks from when I was competing in 1.6. So it's awesome to finally be at an event like this.
So you started off as a pro player, I think in 1.6.
Yep.
And then you kind of took a break before you started off in CS:GO, and then you went to cast for ESEA. How did that transition go?
I mean, I switched into casting when I was playing on a team competing at the professional levels in North America, and like team just kind of stopped working out. So I was actually cut from the team. Someone's trying to get out. I was actually cut from the team, and then I just kind of transitioned there because. Hey, dude.
Oh, shit, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I just transitioned into casting because I wanted to stay involved in the CS scene. It's always been like a hobby throughout the years. Transition was pretty simple though. I mean, it's actually pretty easy in terms of like what you say because you have such a knowledge of the teams when you go directly from competing and playing. It was all the technical stuff I had to learn, which all my opening events were with guys like Anders and Semler, so it was very easy to learn from them, very easy to ask them questions. So I got very fortunate in that sense.
Yeah, and then you started to analyzing games a lot more. Why did you start analyzing instead of casting? Because you are pretty good at it too.
Yeah, no, I love casting, and that was the original goal. I mean, it just so happened, kind of the transition really started at Columbus this past year, and actually the reason is kind of just because, as much as I had good timing getting into commentating, the duos have become so strong. Anders and Semler really showed the synergy of a duo can, how much that can lend to a cast and how good the cast is. And it just so worked out that Sadicus and I were the original kind of duo that was going to form there. We started casting Counter-Strike at around the same time, and he went off to PGL, and I stayed with the more like secure idea to start things out. I signed a full-time contract with ESEA, and it just so happened that we never really got to hook up and cast together for any extended period of time. So. Once the duos started becoming prevalent, events started hiring the duos to cast specifically. It was just kind of like the natural progression that I would go towards analyzing. I've looked and thought about the idea of trying to find someone to become a duo and start that journey, but just nothing has kind of come up quite yet that would get me excited. So, like, we've seen you commentating with Pansy, I think, and sometimes the Bears and Blue too. So what is it that you prefer? Do you prefer to analyze or do you prefer to cast? I don't really prefer one or the other, to be honest with you. It's different. Like analyzing is a little bit more fun. You have the freedom of the desk, a little bit more freedom with creativity of like whether we want to we bring props or we just make jokes or anything like that. Casting, you're kind of confined to the game, which isn't a bad thing, but it is kind of like the more exciting. It's kind of like the sexier of the two to do, I guess you would say. So I don't prefer either one over the other. I can do both, and I think that's one reason why I get hired a lot. Is even at IEM Oakland last week, Anders had I think it was like tonsillitis or something going into the event, and he had a couple games where he had to sit out because he just wanted to save his voice for the arena, so I'm able to step in and cast with him. So yeah, I mean there's no preference, it's just they're both just a little bit different, but they're both awesome, they're both fun.
How do you describe yourself as an analyst? Because obviously we have Thorin, who's more of a savage analyst, doesn't give a fuck about what you say, and then we have Janko, he's kind of the more brain behind everything, I guess, and then he also tends to lean towards the savage way. So how would you describe yourself?
Shit, that's actually a really good question. I've never actually thought of that. I don't know. I like to be. I think I'm a pretty realistic. I don't really go as savage as Thorin does, obviously. But it's more about I'm a players analyst. I'm a former player, so it's kind of like I don't mind criticizing players, but I like to criticize players in the context of how they're like the team play around it. So I don't go as in depth with tactics as Yanko, obviously, and I don't focus solely on individuals in the overall general idea as Duncan, but I like to focus on how teams are playing together, how their roles are all fitting together, how they like to play the maps. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things. As an analyst as well, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with casting. I'm very adaptable in that sense, where I can do the hard analysis like Yanko. If he's missing from an analyst desk, I can go into the tactical and strategic aspect of it. But more often than not, just kind of stick to the team play.
Yeah. Then also when it comes to criticizing, we had that Northern Arena accident, I think it was 2 weeks ago, something like that,
yep.
Where one of the casters kind of went maybe a little bit too hard on Smiths. It can be discussed, obviously. Did you think that he did the right thing, or do you think that he could have done it in another way? Because obviously casters should be able to criticize players, but maybe not to an extent where he makes fun of them, so to speak.
I actually didn't think the cast itself was that bad. What he said, actually, I mean, you have to realize as well, like at a certain point, there's also an entertainment value, and those are the kind of things that unfortunately, like people on Reddit, people on Twitch chat, these are the things the fans, they find it fun. And I actually think that was a pretty harmless comment to make during the cast. I think it was more a build-up of everything that has been going on over the past few months. Comments from casters or analysts on Twitter, other players on Twitter. The forums obviously start getting outrageous at that point. Reddit starts getting outrageous with it. I mean, even that week, there were Reddit threads on the front page that were making fun of Smith. So the idea that it's all casters, certainly there are times where we can watch our words better. There's certainly times where we can say things a little bit nicer without being as harsh in our criticism. But overall, I mean, this is something where I think the players just kind of got fed up with the amount of it they were seeing, because that's once the fans get involved, once the Reddit threads and the HLTV trolls come out, that's where you really do start. Even me as an analyst, like even if I have to criticize a player, that's where you really do start feeling for the player, that every day, they're going to their websites to check the news and they see these threads. That's where it becomes a problem.
And like I earlier said, we had IEM Oakland last week, we have Dreamhack Open now this week, and then next week we have the E-League playoffs, and then at the same time we have ECS. I think that it was Dignitas played
the following
game.
Week, yeah, major qualifier.
Yeah, precisely. Then we have the online ECS. Dignitas had played here, I think.
Yep.
So obviously it's kind of maybe too much right now. Do you think that the organizers should cut it down and kind of have a little bit more communication with each other to not risk oversaturation for the players?
I mean, I think that the organizers do actually have contact with each other. I know there's I'm pretty sure that they at least keep each other informed of when they're thinking of doing events or how far along they are in planning some of the bigger events so that they don't collide. I mean, it's not about reaching oversaturation. We're already there. I think the big thing next year is going to be teams have to make those decisions. Like it's now at the point where if all these organizers getting involved see ways that they can make money and they think this is going to be profitable, like they're not going to slow down adding events to the schedule. They're not going to slow down running leagues. I think it's going to come mostly down to teams deciding which online leagues they want to participate in, because those are the real time-consuming things. It's not. I mean, there are surely a lot of tournaments, but it's when you're playing online games at events, which is outrageous in my opinion, and it's not even the organizers' fault. A lot of these are mismanagement, misallocation of time by the teams. When you're playing those online games at events, and when you're going home from an event after being away for a week, and you have to play 3 online matches in a night, and you only have 2 days at home, I think teams are going to have to do a much better job of picking a league or 2 leagues and being much more mindful of their tournament schedule next year. And it's the same with us casters. I mean, it's the same thing. We all have had that talk where it's like, okay, next year we cannot go as crazy and do every single event that comes our way, because we're all tired. We all want to be able to do other things. We want to be able to make content. We want to be able to sit at home and see friends and family. So there's certainly decisions that need to be made, and if it's not going to be tournament organizers who are going to do it, then I think it falls next under the casters, it falls under the teams, it falls under the players.
Do you think that the organizers should let more younger, unexperienced casters, for example, we saw Squani at, I think it was Northern Arena, and then we've seen Blue, he's kind of come up in the ESL. So do you think that they should let like you could have one experienced casting pair like Sado and Henry at an event, then you also can have a younger unexperienced pair who can kind of switch off when Sado and Henry says, okay, we need to rest, we can't do anything more, can't do any more casting right now.
I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of should. It's a matter of tournament organizers looking at a commentator and saying we want to give this guy a chance. It's entirely up to them. I don't necessarily think that should is the right word. But if they earn it, if a tournament organizer like Dreamhack or like ESL says we've liked what we've seen from this guy at a small event, like say Skarani has noticed at Northern Arena, and they say we like what he brought to the table. Let's bring him to an event and see how he does at a bigger event. That's entirely up to the tournament organizers. So. Yeah, it's tough to get noticed. It's tough to get your foot in the door when you're coming up as a commentator. So, yeah, if it's out there, it's entirely up to the organizers.
Yeah. That was actually my last question. So, do you have any last words? Maybe something you want to say to the viewers?
Thanks for support over all the events. Thanks for keeping up with us throughout this entire crazy busy year, and we'll see you next year. And just thanks a lot. And this DreamHack has been phenomenal. So if you have the capabilities of making out to one of these Dreamhack Winters, make sure you get here. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, thanks guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more content like this. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.